So today I'm going to do a tray bake, which is some sticky toffee squares, which is a nice date and toffee sponge with a nice toffee glaze on the top. The full recipe will be on my blog at www.howtomakecakes.co.uk. So the ingredients that we need to make the sponge, it's unsalted butter, 90 grams at room temperature, 140 grams of caster sugar. These are my dates. I actually bought the pitted chopped dates. You can get them whole and chop them up, but these are just easier, and that's 180 grams. Let's have half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. We've got some boiling water, 175 millilitres. I've just put that in a jug because we're about to use it. We've got one egg, 180 grams of self-raising flour, and we're just going to have half a teaspoon of vanilla essence. We've then also got some butter and soft light brown sugar for the topping, but we'll come back and do that later. So the first thing we're going to do is actually put the dates, the bicarbonate of soda and the boiling water in a saucepan, and then we just cook that for a while for the dates to sort of melt down a little bit. So if you put all of that into the saucepan with the bicarbonate of soda and the boiling water, and we'll just cook that for a short while. So the idea with this is that we just cook it very gently for about 5 minutes until the dates have softened. So it shouldn't boil, so just keep the heat sort of on a medium heat, keep an eye on it. If it starts to boil, just turn it down. And while this is cooking, in the meantime, we can get on with the rest. So while the dates are softening, we can get on with the next stage, which is just to mix the butter and the sugar together initially. So using either an electric whisk or a mixer like this, we just put the sugar in, add the butter that will now be softened, and we'll just whisk that together. So if your butter was at room temperature, that won't take long. It will go nice and light and fluffy. And then we'll just add in the egg, and then we'll go back and get the date mixture. So break your egg in and just whisk that up as well. So I've just come back to check the dates. They've been slowly cooking for 5 minutes. They've gone nice and soft, so they're then ready to add to the mixture as well. So take that off the heat, and we'll add that with the vanilla essence. So I'm just going to measure out half a teaspoon of vanilla essence, add that into the mixture, and then we will add the dates in as well. So vanilla essence in, and then get the date mixture that's now nice and soft, and add that into the mixture. This is what gives it the great toffee flavour. So add that and just give it a quick whisk together again. So I've just come back to check the dates. They've been slowly cooking for 5 minutes. They've gone nice and soft, so they're then ready to add to the mixture as well. So take that off the heat, and we'll add that with the vanilla essence. So I'm just going to measure out half a teaspoon of vanilla essence, add that into the mixture, and then we will add the dates in as well. So vanilla essence in, and then get the date mixture that's now nice and soft, and add that into the mixture. This is what gives it the great toffee flavour. So add that and just give it a quick whisk together again. So So once that's all mixed together, you'll have a real runny mixture, and what we need to do now is add the flour to make up the sponge. So if you take the bowl off, I've just got a metal spoon to fold the flour in with. So what we need to do, sieve the flour in to keep it nice and light and airy. So put the flour through. I just put it all in at once. I think it's fine to do it like that as long as you're careful with the folding in. So then you're going to fold in. So you sort of use a metal spoon or a spatula, do your figure of 8 motion, and that will slowly fold everything in. So once it's folded in, I just get a spatula to make sure we've got everything off the side, and there we have a nice date toffee sponge. So the tin I'm using is an 8-inch square tin, which you can see I put some greaseproof paper on the bottom and greased. So if you just get the sponge, pour it in, and we'll just level it off. So put it all in. It doesn't seem that there's that much mixture, but obviously we've got self-raising flour in, so it's going to rise nicely. So just spread it out. Try not to put too much pressure on to get all the air out, but shake it about so that it's all in the tin. So once that's all in the tin, we're going to put it in the oven at 180 degrees centigrade. As usual, don't use the fan setting, just use a regular oven setting. And it's going to take about 40 minutes to cook. So put it in the oven, set the timer, and we're ready to go. So I've just actually checked the cake after about 30 minutes and I think it's cooked, so I will put on the blog actually that maybe you need to check it slightly sooner than 40. So you'll know it's cooked because it will be sort of spongy to the touch. If you've got a cake tester, just put it in, check that that comes out clean, which that does, and you see it starts to come slightly away from the sides. So that's cooked, so we'll take this out, and then as soon as we take it out, we make the sauce for the topping, and then that sets in the tin. So in order to make the topping, what we need is we need 85 grams of light soft brown sugar, 40 grams of butter, and then probably about 2 tablespoons of cream or milk. I've just got some cream here that I'm going to put in. So basically put everything in a saucepan, nice and easy. Put the butter, the sugar, and then 2 tablespoons of the cream or milk in, and we just put this on a low heat to melt, and then it gets poured over the top. So just put that on fairly low. The butter will start to melt and the sugar will melt. It won't. So while that's melting, we'll just prepare the sponge. What this does really is it makes a glaze on the top, but it also helps to keep the sponge nice and moist. So what we do is just using a cake tester or a fork, just prick a whole number of holes over the cake, just randomly, and then this is where all the sauce will go in and just keep the sponge nice and moist. So we'll just do that, and then we'll get the sauce and pour it. So the sauce will quite quickly melt down, as you can see here. Just keep it on a very low heat until all the butter and the sugar has melted. And nearly there. Okay, and once that's done, we'll take it over and pour it on. So we take over the warm mixture, and then we just gently pour it over the cake. Try and cover all of it. Just help it get evenly spread with the spatula. Some of it will go down the hole, some of it will just sit on the top, and we're going to let the cake cool in the tin so that this absorbs in and creates a nice glaze on top. So make sure all of it has a bit of the sauce on, like that, and then we'll just leave it until it's completely cool, and then we'll cut it from the tin. So once it's all cooled properly, we'll just cut it up in the tin and then take it out. So I'd normally sort of cut it into squares. So cut through, and you can see the top, it's got sort of the sauce is set, so it's a nice glaze on the top. So once you've cut them into squares, then just hopefully easily lift them out, and the greaseproof paper stays there. So there we have our sticky toffee squares. So once you've taken them out, they're best eaten within a couple of days, but they keep for a couple of days and stay nice and sticky. So don't forget, the full recipe is on my blog at www.howtomakecakes.co.uk.